The following podcast is a VSW podcast feature presentation. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, it's Beantown Sports Wolfcast. Oh, Welcome, everybody. I may be a little late with this, but here is today's New England Patriots recap against the Houston Texans. And what a weekend in Boston sports. You got the Red Sox advancing to the ALCS to face the winner of the Astros or the White Sox. But it will be a Wolfcast for another time. This game had a lot of struggles early on with most of their offensive line going through COVID, reserve lists, and being out. And it's started off as a drag where the Patriots able to pull it together to get their second win of the season. Find out next on the Beantown Sports Wolfcast. Calm down, people. Calm down. Did you guys all win the marathon yesterday? I'm so confused. You guys are all so happy, energetic. But maybe it was because of this game? Maybe not. Who knows? The Patriots were coming into this game with a 1-3 record right after a heartbreaking, shocking, competitive game against TB12 homecoming with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which they did end up losing with a missed 56-yard field goal, but they say on to the next one, right? So the Pats come in. Both teams have a 1-3 record, with the Houston Texans suffering through a lot of drama. No Deshaun Watson, no J.J. Watt anymore, and we all know what happened with DeAndre Hopkins. They gave him away for nothing, like a bag of hot dogs for no money that's expired. That's what it was basically when they traded him for David Johnson. But that's me. This game all started coming in, both teams, like I said, with a 1-3 record. For 1-3 record and a attempt at second place. You had the Miami Dolphins and Jets tied at 1-3 as well, with the Buffalo Bills, last year's AFC Championship finalists and repeat AFC East champions, going on to face an AFC Championship rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs later that night. So the Pats really need to start winning games now. They got a young team. They got a lot of veteran receivers filling in and tight ends with Smith, Henry. You got James White injured, which isn't a good thing. They're using Brandon Bolden as that Kevin Falk, James White, third down clutch back role, which I think has been working out. But we knew coming to this game, we all thought, the way they played against the Buccaneers, that this would be an easy win for the Pats. But here's the problem is that most of their offensive linemen on the depth chart had to opt out because they were on the COVID or reserve list. I don't know if they were injured, they're sick with COVID, but who knows anyways. Mac Jones definitely had to deliver on this game. The pressure was on him with all the other rookie quarterbacks not doing as well. He has as much wins as, I believe, Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence still hasn't won a game yet. His coach was too busy partying at bars with younger women than him. That's a whole separate conversation. It all started with Houston going on it on fourth down. And they hit, and David Millis hit a touchdown pass to an unnamed tight end to make it 6-0 Texans. Then the Pats stormed back and had a Damian Harris touchdown, which made it 6-6 with Nick Folk shanking an extra point, which we all got nervous because he almost made that 56-yard field goal in the rain against Tampa last week, which can be very nerve-wracking. It was 6-6, and then the Pats had a pair of field goals. And the Texans, they had a lot of turnovers, including a Damian Harris fumble. You had a Judon recover a fumble on the Pats end, which he was all over the quarterback Millis today. And you had Chris Moore getting that touchdown in the second quarter to make it a 13-6 Texans, 12-6 Texans game, and then an 18-6 going into the half, and then the Pats got 2 field goals, so it was 15-9 Texans at the end of the first half, which the pass rush was really bad for the Houston Texans. They made them look like they were Joe Montana, because the Pats really been struggling on the pass rush all year with the rushing attack. Davis Millis had 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions for 21 out of 29 with 312 yards. You had Deshaun Watson out due to either him not wanting to play and a lot of sexual assault allegations, so the Texans were predicted to be the worst team in the league regardless. You had Tyrod Taylor, who every time he gets a first win of a season, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Bills, he always finds a way to get hurt, and he can't stay healthy, limiting the guy's potential. The Texans looked really decent with him under center, but Davis Millis has came in. He actually had a really great game against the Patriots. But it was really hard for them to protect Mac Jones all first half, with most of the guys being out due to the reserves, due to COVID, which made a huge difference in the first half. A lot of people expected the Patriots to be pounding this Texans team after the way they stormed back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it doesn't matter how good or bad a team is in the NFL. The offensive line is one of the most underrated positions in all of sports, because without them, you don't have guys like Derrick Henry or Ezekiel Elliott or Christian McCaffrey rushing all over the place. And you don't have guys like Brady, Mahomes throwing balls and getting all-pro stats. With the offensive line, they fail to protect you. They limit your potential, even as busts like David Carr, former Texans' first ever draft pick, and guys like Tim Couch on the Cleveland Browns, because they have a bad offensive line. If you can't protect your quarterback, you won't win many games. And that's how the Pats were behind against this Texans team, was throwing a bad interception in the first half. You had Damian Harris lose a fumble in the first half. You had Ramondre Stevenson getting 11 carries for 23 yards. But now it's time to recap the second half of the game. It all started with third quarter, Chris Conley getting a huge 37-yard pass from Davis Millis, and it was 22-9 Houston right after the Patriots turned the ball over after recovering. After getting the second half kickoff, a lot of people thought it was over, and then the defense woke up, and Nick Folk drilled a 52-yard field goal to make it 22-12, and then another 32-yard field goal to make it 22-15. Now the Pats have a chance to come back. They really do. And so the Houston Texans were in the 40-yard line in the fourth quarter, up 22-15, and in 53 yards, they burnt a timeout, which was critical for them, which was a bad move by the coach, and Fairbairn shanked that field goal, and the Pats had a chance. Set up a Mac Jones short driving pass, and the Damian Harris and Stevenson runs. Set up a 13-yard pass to Hunter Henry, the former Los Angeles Charger. He needs to be his former all-star self, which I think he will once we get going on the team. It was 22-22. And then Judon sacked Millis in the fourth quarter. And the Pats were able to drill time to get a Nick Folk 21-yard field goal with 4 seconds left. They burned so much time, they killed it in the clock using their timeouts consistently. Led to a Patriots 25-22 victory over the Houston Texans. What was a much-needed win for the Patriots, because coming up this week, they got one of the most marketable teams in not only all of football, but all of sports. The Dallas Cowboys led 4-1 record, first place in the NFC East after suffering the Giants with a bunch of injury. Poor Saquon injured his knee again. Barkley, their quarterback, was trying to rush for a touchdown. Daniel Jones got hurt, and they lost one of their free agent receivers, Galladay. Maybe the Cowboys have a bunch of bounties on them. Not as much as John Gruden, though, as he's no longer an NFL coach, pun intended. It's a big game for the Pats, and the Pats have been 0-3 at home all year with the Dolphins, Saints, and losing to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They really need a home win, and Mac Jones finally looks more comfortable in the second half, and they can build the momentum off the Buccaneers loss and this victory to get this young team going. Now everyone seems to have their place. With losing the fourth preseason game and adding a regular season game, yeah, maybe more cash flow and more money, but it also hurts young teams from developing and undergoing so much chemistry that's needed to excel throughout the season, as the Patriots do need to get together with all these young rushers. We don't have James White now. We got a lot of offensive line opt out, such as Isaiah Wynn, Shaq Mason, and more. It was a really good effort by the Patriots to come back. Some people may be a little down because the Houston Texans are one of the worst teams in all the league, the worst divisions in football, the AFC South. But I look at it as a great thing that they were able to move the ball, complete short passes in the second half. They did get better at protecting Mac Jones after a disastrous first half. He is looking cautious. He had 23 for 30 with 231 yards with the solo touchdown and interception, but that's all he needed. He had Damian Harris have 14 carries for 58 yards. You got Bolden using 2 carries for 25 yards, and you got even Kendrick Bourne getting a little 12-yard rushing play, and you got Jacoby Myers completing 4 for 5 targets for 56 yards. He's been amazing all from last year from the Patriots, one of the very few offensive players who would have excelled in the Tom Brady days had he been around longer than 1 year. I am really liking from what I see from this guy. Can catch passes out of bounds. He's very reliable on the short pass. Aguilar's been getting a little better too, finally going through short passes instead of the deep throw bond, similar to Kendrick Bourne. We don't see too much in N'Keal Harry as he's recovering from the injury, but studies show that he has improved to be a number 1 or number 2 wideout, so only using him when we have to is not a bad idea for now until he learns more of the playbook and gets better. But you have a lot of Texans fumbles which in the second half, which made things better for the Patriots as the defense became really good after that. There's also a lot of things the Pats can improve on. Hopefully they get their offensive linemen big this week against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have one of the best corners in the game, similar to J.C. Jackson of the Patriots. The brother of wideout Trevon Diggs, has been leading the league in interceptions all year, including a pick 6 from the Giants this week. The Cowboys are a really good team, and they're all healthy right now, except for maybe Michael Gallup, but they got CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, stud receivers for Prescott to throw to, as the Pats are one of the best defenses in the league in all of passing. That matchup should be interesting. You also got Ezekiel Elliott, who's finally back to his old self. And you don't underestimate his backup, Tony Pollard, which has a really good third down back scenario, similar to how the Patriots use James White. But you got a big game, a 4:30 cross-flex game. It's not on Fox, folks. It's on CBS, because they have this new deal with cross-flexing that if you give a game to CBS, you have to give one to Fox, etc. And CBS AFC package is a lot weaker compared to Fox's NFC with all their big markets. A lot of times, a lot of big NFC games have been on CBS because they heavily requested, because outside the Chiefs, the Bills are a small market team, and if the Steelers and Patriots don't produce, they don't have a lot of appealing guys. But anyways, I would like to thank you everybody for listening to this Wolfcast. It's a big week in Boston sports as you have 2 back-to-back walk-off wins for the Red Sox as they advance past the Tampa Bay Rays 3-1 to go on to the ALCS to face the winner of the Chicago White Sox and Houston Astros. Maybe you'll get a Core Astros rematch. And you got the Boston Bruins starting Saturday as the NHL starts on ESPN for the first time in 17 years today with a doubleheader with the Penguins and Lightning and the first ever Seattle Kraken game against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. But you got the Bruins not playing till Saturday, I found out, because I knew they were scheduled for a game on TNT Wednesday at Philly at the Flyers, but turns out it was for next Wednesday, so they debut 7 o'clock Saturday night against the Dallas Stars. I'll get more on that, and in a few weeks the Celtics return, and I cannot wait to see how Boston sports produce, as it will get very busy with the Wolfcast. Tomorrow I will give a recap of the ALDS with the Red Sox and the Rays, and Friday you should have a two podcast. I'll have a Bruins season preview coming on either Saturday or Friday morning, but I'll get an ALCS preview first out beforehand. So you got not today's Patriots recap, not Red Sox recap, or not just the Bruins. You got not 1, not 2, but 3 podcasts coming right up, 3 Wolfcasts coming right up. As I would like to thank you all for this following VSW presentation. The Wolf is out. Ka-ching! We'd like to thank you all for watching this feature VSW podcast presentation. Subscribe, like all the VSW podcast handles on YouTube. Watch some highlights today of your latest sports and wrestling, entertainment, short clips. Thank you all and have a nice day.